Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Likon Obanjo. The top stories at this hour. Senate gives conditions for Senator Natasha Pudanga's reinstatement after court judgment. New Nigeria People's Party declares that Rabiu Kokanso will not contest the 2027 presidential election on its platform. 10 Nigerian soldiers killed, 15 wounded following double attack by suspected terrorists. Details to come your way shortly. We start by telling you that the All Progressives Congress is currently holding a high-level South-South Stakeholders Summit in Benin City aimed at strengthening the party's mobilization and governance structure in the region. The event, themed Renewed Hope in Action, is drawing key players from across political spectrum. News Central's Amenze Bazwai joins us now live from the Victor Waifo Creative Hub, the venue of the summit. Amenze, good afternoon to you. We'd like to know what the latest is as regards this very important gathering. Amenze, can you hear me?
Good afternoon, yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful. Go ahead. Let's have an understanding of what the meeting is all about as it involves the All Progressives Congress.
So we're starting right here at Victor Waifo Creative Hub here in Benin City, Oshun State, Nigeria, where members of the APC, of course, political leaders of the APC are here gathered, convened to have a meeting, basically a stakeholders meeting to chart the way forward ahead of the coming election in 2027. We have a lot of them here. We have the President of the Senate President and President Gotheye already seated in the building. We also have APC State Chairman present here in the building. A lot of them are just talking basically about how they can strategize, how they can ensure that there's mobilization toward the coming election in 2027. The renewed hope agenda is the focus here at the Victor Waifo Hub. Of course, the stakeholders meeting of the APC. We have the governors of Edo, governor of Cross River, governor of River State, and of course Akwa Ibom State also seated in the building. Majorly, they're looking at how they can join hands together to ensure that in the upcoming election, of course the presidential election, that the APC retains power in the country.
All right, so I don't know if the conversation has actually started proper, but I'd like to find out what is the body language of most of these political stalwarts of the APC in terms of the defections and how they hope to strategize to form a formidable force for the coming elections.
Right, so delegates here present have talked about how they can strategize to ensure that there's grassroots mobilization. There are talks about youth inclusion, women inclusion. If you look into the hall, or rather if you are in the hall, you will find out that there's a lot of heavy presence of women and of course youth here. So they are carrying along the youth, they are carrying along the women who they believe would actually ensure that, of course, they would help them in the upcoming election to basically have victory in the 2027 election. So yes, there talks about the coalition here, but what they're trying to say here is that they should stand strong. They should be in unity. Any form of faction should be neglected, and any form of disunity should also be neglected here. Basically, what is key here is the fact that it is being held here in Edo State. Edo State is one of the states that we should say there is always a battleground for which party, out of the two big parties in the country, would actually take part. So having it here is quite significant. Having it here in Edo State is quite strategic, and it also gives a bold statement to the other parties that the APC is ready for the 2027 election when it comes.
So what is the reception like? How receptive are the people in Edo State for this such a gathering?
The reception seems quite good. Of course, we have every presence of security personnel, so not every single person is allowed in here. You're not a stakeholder of the agency, or you don't have any stake here in the complex. You do not have access into the complex. But on the streets, you can hear a lot of persons saying, okay, the agency, they seem to be ready for the 2027 election, and this is one meeting that will chart the way forward for them, if they can have resolutions coming through from here. We've not heard from the Senate President yet, just state party chairman from Edo State, from Cross River, from River, and of course from Akwa Ibom have actually spoken here. We've also had the Edo State Governor, Monday Okel, actually addressing the congregation here, addressing the audience here. And basically he was talking about charging the others that they should try to come together. They should be unified. They should put up a unified front to ensure that victory is theirs in the coming election. So on the street, yes, we hear a lot of presidents commending the agency for this strategic meeting, and hopefully this meeting will go a long way to assist them in ensuring that they do victory.
Amenze Bazwaye, thank you so much for sharing these updates with us. We appreciate that. Let's now talk legislative matters. The Senate has set conditions for the reinstatement of Senator Natasha Pudanga following a federal high court judgment that nullified her 6-month suspension. Justice Bintanyako ruled that the suspension was excessive and denied Kogi Central constituents representation. While affirming the Senate's authority to discipline members, the court directed Pudanga to apologize publicly for contempt over a satirical Facebook post and pay a 5 million naira fine. Meanwhile, Senate spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu said the Red Chamber will only act after Pudanga complies with the court's directives. Senate counsel Paul Dauda also clarified that the judgment did not mandate her reinstatement but advised reconsideration. The clamor for new state creation as well as more women representation at the National Assembly took the center stage at the Northeast Zonal public hearing on the review of Nigeria's 1999 Constitution held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. News Central's Morikarawa completes the report.
A gathering that brought stakeholders across different political parties, ethnic and religious affiliations, among others. It's the Northeast Zonal public hearing on the 1999 Constitutional Review with inputs from individuals, civil society organizations, political groups and traditional institutions, among others.
The 10th Senate constituted the Constitution Review Committee to tackle citizens' call for amendments to the Constitution.
We are here today to support the push of the reserved seats bill for women. We are supporting this bill because it's an inclusive bill.
There is no audience saying Nigeria's participation in the process of amending the Constitution will strengthen the validity of the Constitution and create a sense of ownership.
Representatives from various states in the Northeast geopolitical region made a strong case for the creation of new states, including Savannah out of Borno State, Katagum out of Bauchi State, Tangalawa and Highland out of Gombe State, and Amana out of Adamawa State, among others.
We came here as a delegation not to beg or just try to plead for the creation of Amana State. We are here to demand for the correction of a historical injustice.
The aspiration of Katagum has been the front runner for almost more than 3 decades. That is over 30 years ago. And we are very unanimous in the Senate.
The agitation for Korara State is a united agitation.
Concerns on electoral reforms, security reforms, including local government police, among others, were also on the front burner.
We unanimously disagree for moving the Nigerian Labour Congress, industrial relations, industrial dispute and minimum wage from the executive, legislative to concurrence list.
Several efforts have been made in the past to grant full independence to state legislature, but they have not yielded results.
We therefore need the sex to be scrapped and then give the powers of conducting elections in LGS to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The Constitutional Review Committee acknowledged the widespread interest and pledged to compile and present the regional demands for necessary action. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Well, to help us make sense of this, we're joined by a legal practitioner, Toho Seruoja. Mr. Seruoja, it's nice to have you join us on the news.
Thank you.
So let's start by even having an understanding. Is there a legal distinction between constitutional review and a constitutional amendment under Nigerian jurisprudence?
Well, it's just a mere terminology. You can say it's constitutional review, and you can also say it alteration. So it's just a mere, how will I put it now, it's a terminology. It all depends on how you use the terminology. So they all mean the same. That means it's a process of maybe amending, either taking from or adding to the Constitution. Either you reduce or you expand the provision of the Constitution. So it's constitutional, and it is also part of the legislative function of the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly to also do that.
All right, so we are talking about the 1999 Constitution. Considering everything that contains in it, its interpretation and implementation, would you say that it is long overdue having to review it?
Well, look, this is a very dicey question, but let me make an attempt, because if you look from the 1999 when the Constitution came into existence, there have been about 5 alterations, or should I use the word 5 amendments, and we'll give it to the 6th Assembly that made 2 efforts in amending the Constitution that brought about some drastic change in the Constitution, particularly when it comes to the transitional period in our democracy. Then you talked about the 7th Assembly, they made other alteration. They talked about the 8th Assembly, which made the most celebrated alteration, which is the not too young to run. And you look at the 9th Assembly that made several alterations. So, but you look at it from another perspective, is that if you look at the issues under discourse, some of us who are outside the context, who are outside Nigeria, were a bit worried. We are a bit worried if you look at what is on the front burner. First, I will clarify the process adopted by the National Assembly. Okay. There will never be in a West civilized society whereby public hearing of this nature is held for Constitution to be amended. There's never been like that, and the Constitution did not provide such procedures. They all have senatorial district offices, they all have House of Assembly, National Assembly constituency offices, whereby people can relate issues through those offices to their members. So making this big ceremony is just a mere political jamboree. Then 2, you look at another area of concern, the major issue, which is the section, which is the chapter 2 of the Constitution. Everything that works in in a developed country is captured in that section 2, in that chapter 2 of the Constitution, which is just 10 sections. They are not making it, nobody is even discussing it. Nobody is even making it, okay, let's make it justiciable. Let it be a ground for impeachment. Let it be a ground for any elective officers to be removed. We are not going contrary to that spirit. We are talking about reserved seat for the women, whereby the Constitution guaranteed that everybody should be treated equally. Do you understand? So we don't know where the problem is coming from, whether is it from the leaders or from the masses. Is a big concern, and we need to look at it. If you give me opportunity, I'll take you through the process of amendment of the Constitution. This public hearing, how many hours did they have such a meeting? How many people were heard? Were the people from the villages, did they give them opportunity? But there need to be an orientation from maybe the National Orientation Agency, the senators. Members can visit the senatorial offices in their constituency, and I think they made it so nice that I think in each local government, and what chairmen of political parties act as liaison officers to their senators, so that they present their issues. They hire a consultant to harmonize these issues and present it at the House not what we're having here.
But then, so don't you think that this gives equal and direct representation of the people? Because it's meant to be a stakeholders meeting where we have people from the public space come together to have a direct discussion or dialogue with the handlers of Nigeria's constitution, rather than have some representatives who may or may not skew, manipulate, or tinker with whatever it is that has been presented to them before they're now presented to the legislatures for amendments.
Now, let me, I think the word stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? What make them stakeholders? What are the means of selecting those people who were there? These are people who, by one reason or the other, find out what was the process in making those representations. Those people who spoke, who made themselves present at that thing. You discover that they are still within the elite class. You discover that they are still within the political friendship and class of the politicians. And if I may surprise you, you discover that they are all one card-carrying member of a particular political party. Because if you are looking at stakeholders, you look at across all political parties, across all worlds, and across even communities. These are issues that make up the stakeholder. But let me give you a good example of how things work. If we have a senator, like from my state, a senator who has his own offices which they are paid for, that is part of the allowances they collect. They have their own offices and secretaries who are there to collect information, to look at the issues of the issue affecting the people. They engage a consultant to harmonize that. Let me tell you one thing about this amendment of a thing. It's about one person. It's not what you see them coming. One person just has to initiate. That is the first process. The initiation can be from the executive branch, which is the president or the governor, can initiate such a bill, or a member of House of Reps, or a senator, a distinguished senator, to initiate. Oh, this process is necessary. Let's look at not too young to run whatever the bill that was given to Nigerians, Nigerian youth and collected from the window. You look at it. It's about a process of initiation. When the initiation is come, then you talk about the stakeholders. Now, that is why I will not tell you that there's what we call the public hearing. The public hearing brought about a that is the closest place to stakeholders, because when issues of amendments are made, there are particular areas that it touches. So those areas are the stakeholders that looks at it. It's an ongoing process. But for what I saw, and from the discourse we'll be following for the amendment, I'll tell you, it's a political jamboree. It's a big one.
So basically, you're saying there's something sinister about this gathering of political top shots having to discuss with people on how to amend the Constitution. You're saying it's not something we should be looking forward to that can bring about transformation in the country. Just in about 30 seconds.
No. It's not something we should be looking at. It's not something, particularly when you hear the issues under discourse, is worrisome. When you hear the issues under discourse, is worrisome. And you know that it's just a journey in futility. Creation of new states. What does that have to do with the common man? What does that have to do with the fundamental objective of government? You talked about reserving seat for female.
For women.
Then the men will also do their own. The youth will do their own. Then the children will do their own too. We all have reservations and every other thing. Equality is what we are talking about. Justification of governance is what we are talking about. And these are already in the Constitution.
Okay.
But what is the spirit? What are the attitude towards politicians?
Okay, well, I tell you that this is one thing that this century is going to sit on to unravel all the facts around it, to bring it for, most especially for the people to have an understanding of. But then we appreciate the fact that you're able to share your thoughts with us, Toho Sariwaja, with us on the news. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Now we go on a break. When we return, President Tinubu arrives in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to attend the 17th BRICS Summit for heads of state and government. We'll tell you more in a short while. Don't go away. Now, the new Nigeria People's Party has declared that Rabiu Kokanso will not contest the 2027 presidential election on its platform. In a statement on Saturday, NNPP National Chairman Dr. Albo Major said Kokanso and his ally Buba Galadima have long been expelled from the party for anti-party activities. The clarification follows Galadima's recent claim that Kokanso would remain in NNPP and contest in 2027. Major said the party's memorandum of understanding with the Kokansiya movement ended after the 2023 election. He further accused Kokanso of attempting to hijack the party, altering its logo and dragging it into legal battles. The NNPP insisted it will no longer offer free tickets and advised Kokanso to float his own party for future ambitions. Away from that, Oshun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has dismissed rumors of his defection from the People's Democratic Party, affirming his loyalty and leadership within the party in Oshun State. In a post on X, Adeleke clarified his political stance following widespread speculation, stating that he remains a loyal member and the leader of the PDP in Oshun State. He also urged the public to disregard the defection rumors and focus on his administration's 5-point agenda. His statement followed a private visit to President Tinubu's residence, which fueled speculation. Amid Adeleke's clarification, the PDP is currently facing deepening internal turmoil with recent defections by Governors Umoeno and Sheriff Oberewari, while leadership disputes and coalition talks continue ahead of the 2027 elections. In the meantime, the National Working Committee of the Social Democratic Party has inaugurated a 5-member panel to investigate allegations of constitutional breaches, financial misconduct and diversion of party funds by the suspended national officers. The panel has been given 14 days to complete its investigation and submit its findings, after which the party says appropriate action will be taken. News Central's correspondent Aishat Salihu has more.
Following a resolution by the National Working Committee, the SDP suspended its national chairman, Shehu Gabam, the national auditor, Nnadi Clarkson, and the national youth leader, Chukwuma Udechukwu. The decision came after what the party described as compelling evidence of misconduct. A disciplinary committee has now been constituted to investigate the matter in line with provisions in the party's constitution.
Section 19.3 make provision for various offences. And further down that section of 19, make provision for investigation, setting up of committee to find out what has gone on, and even make provisions for an appeal by whoever is indicted.
Advise on better ways to manage the finances of SDP to prevent abuse and breach of the Constitution.
The committee must show decorum, dignity, and decency to the persons who appear before it and to one another. In discharging your duties, we implore you to be just and impartial. Let your findings speak for themselves.
Responding to concerns about delayed discovery and investigation, the NWC insists it was not complicit. Members say they were consistently excluded from financial dealings and lacked access to the party's financial records.
Me, as a person, John SDP, we have not discussed financial matter once on the table. So, because there is no finance. So, ordinarily, if there is any, if anybody says there is any, let them provide evidence where finance was discussed in our minutes of minutes and recorded. These are the evidence you should be acted.
Questions have been asked. People in different positions have acted across various lines with futile results. It is until push came to shove that the NWC had to stand for posterity and integrity.
The need for a panel of inquiry became clear when it emerged that the suspended national chairman had allegedly submitted an unauthorized financial statement to INEC, an act the party says violated internal procedures and national regulations. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Still talking politics, the reconciliation between the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike and suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara is eliciting a wide range of reactions from politicians, civil society organizations and residents of Rivers State. While some see the move as a new dawn of hope, others are still watching the political scene to gauge the sincerity and impact of the reconciliation. News Central's Biola Festus sampled opinions and now reports.
The feud between suspended Governor Fubara and his political godfather began in 2023 over alleged accusations of high-handedness by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and alleged attempts by Fubara to dismantle the minister's political structure. The feud rapidly escalated into political chaos, with lawmakers loyal to the FCT minister attempting to impeach the governor. The situation was exacerbated by arson attacks on the assembly complex and local government secretariats. Ultimately, both the governor and assembly members were suspended by the presidency. Although many political watchers had called for stability in the state, the recent peace deal between Wike and Fubara has received mixed reactions. For some residents, it signifies peace at last after a long period of political turmoil that had brought governance to a standstill.
As Governor Wike and Governor Fubara, so they've reconciled. Oh, glory to Jesus, Amati. So does it mean that Governor Fubara is now going to his office again? Oh, thanks be to God. This is prayer answered. Even in my church, we have been praying that there must be peace.
It was really a setback to every person that is not only in Rivers State, but also in our country. You understand? And I just hope other persons will learn from this. You understand? We're humans, one can make mistakes. You understand? But the beauty of it all is that both of them have been able to come together to reconcile. And that's what we're interested in. So there's going to be more opportunities for investment. People can now move freely. This rumor of Port Harcourt is not peaceful will come to an end.
Meanwhile, some other political gladiators are taking the peace pact with a pinch of salt.
Until I hear with these my 2 years that suspension has been lifted, as unconstitutional as it is, that unconstitutional act, they apologize for it, and that therefore it's been lifted, and the state is put back in the hands of a Rivers man to run.
However, civil society organizations are questioning the basis for the reconciliation and demanding that the public be let in on the conditions.
That peace arrangement is in favor of reversible. If Governor Sim did not agree to the peace pact, the peace arrangements, how would he come and put in place the development activities he has already put in place? How can he come and finish them?
It's a lesson for you to know that in politics, there's no permanent enemy and permanent friend. So anytime you see two big people fighting and all, they don't need to take it personally, they don't need to take a side or any other thing. Just for you to continue preaching peace and see if both of them will reconcile. The way they reconcile now, you can see the atmosphere of everybody's happy.
While the people of Rivers State continue to advocate for the restoration of democracy in the state, all eyes will be focused to see how far the truce between these political giants will help achieve peace. In Rivers for News Central, Biola Festus.
Away from political-related stories, now President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to attend the 17th BRICS Summit for heads of state and government. The summit brings together leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other emerging economies. Tinubu's plane landed on Friday night at Galeão Air Force Base, where he received the Guard of Honor. He was welcomed by Brazilian officials and will meet President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in a bilateral session before the main summit on July 6 and 7. Tinubu is expected to deliver an address on Nigeria's economic reforms and meet with investors in agriculture, energy, and healthcare. The summit's theme focuses on inclusive global governance, climate change, and technology for the global south. To security now, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command says operations carried out in the last 2 months have led to the arrest of over 80 suspects linked to various crimes ranging from kidnapping and armed robbery to fraud, rape, and child trafficking. According to the Commissioner of Police, these arrests stem from a record of 49 criminal cases, with areas such as Buhari, Apo, and Kubwa identified as key locations where foiled kidnap and robbery attempts resulted in shootouts and arms recovery.
A visa syndicate was equally busted within this period. That was on the 3rd of May 2025. Acting on credible intelligence, the command raided an apartment at Aso Junction in Lube, where one Samuel Monday was arrested alongside 2 others. This guy have duped some innocent Nigerians to the tune of more than 30 million naira. 15 of the victims that they have been keeping in that custody were rescued, liberated. We've been able to recover some of their money while the suspect is currently awaiting trial. During the period under review, the command successfully foiled 5 separate armed robbery attempts. This operation took place across the area, 1 in Apo, 1 in Durumi, 4 in Kubwa area.
Police in Abia State say they have maintained a steady strategic policing of the state to contain crime. The State Commissioner of Police, Danladi Issa, in a press briefing disclosed that his men arrested some suspects for kidnapping, defilement, murder and cultism, with some already standing trial. He added that tactical team is also investigating some crimes that have been reported to the command.
Our strategic operational procedures are ongoing, and it has yielded dividends, which is fight against crime and criminality, and that the command is not resting on ours. A total of 230 suspects were arrested during the period. We've also arrested, during the period, we've arrested 3 kidnappers of 24 cultists. 24 cultists were arrested at the Kwano area at odd hour, at about 1 a.m. to be specific. They were all dressed in black. We recover arms from them, weapons, matches, a gun, dagger, and axe. Investigation has been concluded, and they are presently on remand at the correctional service, meaning the case is already.
Let's now talk infrastructure. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has concluded 16 consecutive days of project commissioning across the 6 area councils of the FCT. The minister says the completed projects are a testament to President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda aimed at transforming infrastructure and livelihoods in the nation's capital. Wike also seized the moment to respond to recent political developments, particularly the emergence of a new opposition coalition. News Central Sagir Ibrahim reports.
16 days of back-to-back commissioning exercises wrap up in Gwagwalada with the formal opening of the Aguma Palace, Radio Nigeria New Market Road. Dignitaries arrive in the usual fanfare, and the ceremony begins as soon as the president's representative arrives. After a series of goodwill messages, the FCT minister mounts the podium and does not hold back.
They are angry that Mr. President are coming to commission project. But other people, are you angry? No! This time is what it says, Operation Show Your Score Card. From 1999, I'm in this party. 2006, I'm in this party. 2014, I'm in this party. 2019, I'm in the other party. Now 2025, I'm in another coalition. The boy you born coalition.
He emphasized that all contractors engaged were local, in line with the president's push to grow indigenous capacity and stimulate the economy.
That is an administration that believes that we must empower, we must encourage our local contractors.
Your Excellency, having proven our capacity to you, it is our prayer that you continue to carry us along in carrying out the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented the president, highlighted the administration's commitment to delivering projects with direct impact on citizens.
What makes this moment even more remarkable is that the projects we are unveiling were not imposed from above. They were nominated by the people of Gwagwalada themselves, and this is the kind of democracy we believe in.
The high point of the event was the symbolic ribbon cutting by Vice President Shettima, officially commissioning the road and closing the 16-day commissioning trail. Residents who gathered at the event also had their say.
We are just too grateful because he has made Gwagwalada, in fact, he has given Gwagwalada a different face. Market women were appreciating. You cannot pass that road before because of the road is not good. Many women used to fall inside that gutter.
Among the commissioned projects were the newly renovated Abuja International Conference Center, bus terminals in Kugbo and Mabushi, the Apo-Wasa Road, the N16 interchange, and connecting roads across multiple districts. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
Away from that, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has reaffirmed the military's commitment to strengthening civil-military relations and enhancing national security. He made the statement at the Nigerian Army cantonment in Jaji, Kaduna, during the commissioning of key community projects as part of activities marking the 162nd Nigerian Army Day celebration. The Central's Chizobayanwe reports from Kaduna.
The 2025 Nigerian Army Day celebration, like those before it, serves to reflect on the Army's achievements while exploring new strategies to tackle emerging security challenges.
My resolve for sound administration of men and resources is encapsulated in my command philosophy, which aims to consolidate the transformation of the Nigerian Army towards bequeathing a well-motivated and combat-ready force that can effectively discharge its constitutional responsibilities within a joint and multi-agency environment.
Among the projects commissioned by the Chief of Army Staff is a renovated and remodeled multipurpose science laboratory at the Government Day Secondary School, Jaji. The facility now includes updated laboratory equipment, consumables, a generator set, a repaired and reticulated borehole, and fully furnished lab spaces.
This initiative also portrays the Nigerian Army's dedication to fostering the next generation of leaders and innovators. I urge you to maintain the facilities to enhance the educational well-being of the current students and prospective learners as envisaged by the Nigerian Army.
The gesture, officials say, reflects the Nigerian Army's ongoing efforts to strengthen its bonds with host communities through impactful, people-focused initiatives.
These efforts are made at strengthening cordial relationships between the Army and our local communities. In this wise, the Chief of Army Staff graciously approved 4 projects for this year's Nigerian Army celebration, of which this is renovated and remodeled equipped science multipurpose lab is one of them. Other projects are being commissioned simultaneously.
Beneficiaries of this project remain appreciative of this gesture.
I want to extend our proposed appreciation to the Nigerian Army headquarters for selecting Kaduna State as the host and venue for the 2025 national celebration. So it is very relevant with the capital project we are enjoying today here at Government Day.
it has transformed the teaching and learning of sciences, as you can all of us witness.
The Nigerian Army has also said that these events carried out here today isn't just a mark of their civil-military relations with the community members here, but also their contribution to the educational growth of the children of Jaji. In Kaduna State for News Central, Chizoba Anyomi.
Mobility challenges continue to spark critical conversations in Nigeria, especially as authorities fall short in implementing the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act of 2018. In Lagos, a non-governmental organization took to the streets as part of its Feet of Grace walk, aiming to challenge stereotypes, misconceptions, and the stigma often associated with limb loss. News Central's Victor Badike tells us more.
Their bodies defy convention. Every step, a bold statement. Each stride, a silent protest against limitations. For more than 30 minutes, they walked through the streets of Maryland in Ikeja, not just as amputees, but as advocates. Their message was clear: challenge societal bias, demand respect, and assert the rights of amputees to equal opportunities in all areas of life.
Why should I have to go to the bank that I put my money into and I can't enter because the entrance is not disability friendly? Why do I go to an event center to be a part of the party and I can't go because the toilets are not disability friendly? So if you don't make the environment, the facilities disability friendly, you automatically exclude us and say we are not welcome.
Amputation may be a common surgical procedure, but for many, it marks the beginning of a new chapter, one defined by resilience and strength.
My schoolmates love me a lot, they body shame me, they don't want to associate with me. So all these things make me downhearted and I was not happy, to the extent that I don't even feel like going to school again.
I was diagnosed diabetic. So gradually the legs became affected and it has been a challenge for me to go out to work. It has not been easy. I've not been out, but my family was there for me and God was there for me.
Disability is not the end point of life. There's life beyond it. I've learned a lot being disabled. My life gets more exposed more than the way I was before. I've really get exposed more than and the end point of life is joy, is solving problem.
And the message we want to pass across is that disability is a thing of the mind. Disability is not inability. And there is power that we bring to the on board despite our disabilities.
This walk is a reminder to the government and all stakeholders to uphold the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act of 2018. Its full implementation, especially for those who have lost limbs, is not a favor, it's a right. Until the law is fully enforced and the barriers, physical and social, are broken down, these voices will not be silent. In Lagos for News Central, Victor Mbadike.
Coming up on the news. Opposition parties in Togo urge authorities to postpone municipal elections scheduled for July 17 following deadly anti-government protests. We'll tell you more and bring you other stories in a bit. Join us again. Let's take you to Niger, where 10 soldiers have been killed and 15 wounded following a double attack by suspected jihadists near the western border with Burkina Faso. The coordinated assaults hit the villages of Bouloundjounga and Samira in Gotheye Department. Defense Minister General Salifu Modi, speaking on national television, said the army responded forcefully, killing 41 of the attackers described as mercenaries. The region near Mali and Burkina Faso is a long-time hotspot for extremist violence. Samira is also home to Niger's only industrial-scale gold mine. In May, 8 workers from the mine died when their vehicle struck a roadside bomb. The attacks come as Niger, ruled by a military junta, continues its struggle against armed groups like the Al-Qaeda and those linked to the Islamic State. In Togo, 2 opposition parties and several civil society groups are urging authorities to postpone municipal elections scheduled for July 17 following deadly anti-government protests. The National Alliance for Change and Democratic Forces for the Republic condemned what they called brutal repression by security forces. At least 7 people have been killed, dozens injured, and over 60 arrested in recent protests sparked by electricity price hikes, arrests of critics, and a controversial constitutional reform. Campaigning for the elections began on Tuesday, and rights group Amnesty International has called for an independent investigation into the alleged killings, torture, and kidnappings by security forces. Protesters and activists are now demanding accountability and a halt to the vote amid growing political unrest in the West African nation. And that's all at this hour on the news. Let's look at our top stories before we go. Senate has given conditions for Senator Natasha Pudanga's reinstatement after court judgment. New Nigeria's People's Party has declared that Rabiu Kokanso will not contest the 2027 presidential election on its platform. We also told you that 10 Nigerian soldiers have been killed and 15 wounded following double attack by suspected terrorists. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times, channel 274, Arvo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Likon Onobanjo.